Very warm greetings to the learners. This is Dr. Meenakshi. So far, as you remember, we have explored the C chart when it is used to monitor and control the number of defects. Also, we learned that C chart is applied only when the sample size is 1 or constant, that is the number of units or the items are the same in each sample. But what will happen when the sample size varies for some reason? At that time, we will use U chart for controlling the number of defects. So U chart is basically the control chart for number of defects per unit, right? So U chart can also be used when the sample size is constant. Now with the help of an appropriate problem, let's try and understand how to construct a control chart for number of defects per unit. Let us consider the problem faced by a textile company which observes defects in its woven fabric. As part of an overall quality improvement program, the company decided to monitor the number of defects found in the woven fabric each day. The fabric produced each day is 1 meter wide but varies in length, and for this purpose the length of woven fabric and the total number of defects inspected on each day were recorded for 35 days. So as per this problem, we have a data for 35 days. So it will be correct if I write k is equal to 35, right? Okay, now here with the help of this table you can see we have been given the days, the length of the fabric and the number of defects, right? The quality control inspector of the company needs to construct a control chart to check whether the process is under statistical control or not, and also compute the revised control limits if it is necessary. That means if the data points are going out of the control limit, then we need to revise the data. We need to revise this control chart. Therefore, the problem for this session will be trying to explore how to prepare, how to construct the chart for number of defects per unit, that is your U chart, right? So for that purpose, the first step will be to find out the sum of number of defects and the total length of the fabric that has been given here. So what will we have? From here I'll just select the length of the fabric, and after that I will go to formulas. I'll do the auto sum. Similarly for the number of defects also, what I'll do, I'll select number of defects and we'll go to formulas and do the auto sum. So this way we got the sum of number of defects and total length of the fabric. Now the next step is to find out the number of defects per metric fabric for each sample, that we call as the U value. That is what it is, basically the number of defects per metric fabric. It's your choice if you want to write this down or not. I'm just writing it for you so that you can remember what we are doing for each sample. Okay, now it's purely your choice if you want to incorporate this whole thing in your title or not, or you just handle it over with U only. Okay, fine. So this U value can be calculated by the ratio of the total number of defects, right? Not the total, because here we are going to understand how we are going to do it with each and every sample point, because the sample is varying here, length of the fabric. Okay, so it will be number of defects divided by the length of the fabric, right? So this way we were able to find out the number of defects per metric fabric, the U value. So just putting a double click here and we'll get the values for rest of the sample. Okay, after finding out this, we have to find out the U bar value. U bar is basically the average, right? So for that purpose, what we need, we'll need the sum of number of defects this one, divided by the total length of the fabric that we have found here, right? So with the help of this we got the value, and to make it uniform for rest of the sample, what we need to do, we need to put a dollar sign. Okay, now what you have to do, you just have to double click here and you'll get it for rest of the sample. After finding out the U bar value, what is the next step? U bar value is also your center line, right? So either you can mention it here also, just putting a bracket, center line, or CL value, which you call. Now we have to find out the upper control limit and the lower control limit. For the upper control limit, what we have to do, we have to use the formula for U chart, that is U bar that we just calculated plus 3 into square root of U bar, this value, divided by your number of defect, right? So this is your upper control limit value, and I'll just double click it. Why? Because all the points are different here. For the lower control limit also, what we are going to do, we are going to write down here. For the lower control value, again using the same formula but with a difference, U bar value minus 3 into square root of U bar divided by the N1 value. Okay, so this is in negative, so just putting a double click here. Now this way we have found out the values for central line, upper control limit and the lower control limit. Now what we'll do, we'll select these 4 values here. We'll go to insert, select the line chart, and here we get the U chart. Okay, now you can see from this the lower control limit as it is in negative, and we have learned so far in all our sessions that the value for this lower control limit, if it is in negative, we cannot accept it, it has to be replaced by 0. So what we'll do, we'll replace all the values by 0. Okay, for more clarity we'll just remove the grid lines, and after that I'll just expand it a bit. Okay, now you can see from this is your lower control limit, this is your upper control limit with lots of variations, and this red line is your center line, and the blue line represents the number of defects per metric fabric for each sample, right? So why your upper control limit is in all variation is so fluctuating? Because we are using the first approach here, in which basically what is happening, we calculated the control limits for each sample separately, right? So for each sample separately we calculated the control limits, and that's why there is a variation. As you remember, we have done the same practice in P chart only also, right? So what we'll do here now, just we use the first approach, now we'll use the second approach to do the same. In the second approach, if you remember what was there in the second approach, in the second approach basically the control limits are calculated using the average sample size. Now what is that, how do we do that? We'll do it right now in front of you. Now in that approach it is used because when the variations among the sample size are not large and future sample sizes are not expected to differ significantly from the average sample, that time we use that second approach, in which we talk about the control limits calculated with the help of an average sample size. Now what is an average sample size? We'll do it here right now. Using this approach we get constant control limits, just like we did it in C-chart also. So for that purpose, first thing in hand we have to do, we have to find out the average of the sample size. Now how do we find out the average of the sample size? And for that purpose I am going to write down here n bar. This average of the sample size is called as n bar. Why? Because these values n1, n2, n3, these were used separately to find out the control limits in the first approach. Now for the second approach we'll be finding out the average. So for finding out the average, we'll select, this will be equal to, we select the total sum of the n values, that is 1465, and we will divide it by with the total sample, that is 35. That's it. So this is your n bar value, right? So after finding out the n bar value, the second thing is to find out the average number of defects per unit, which was found here as u bar. Okay, so first of all I'll just leave this line here and I'll write here u bar. Okay, now I'm doing it for the second approach. U bar value is found out with the help of total number of defects that we have here, total number of defects that we have already calculated. So it's better if we take that value from here, 168 divided by the total sample, that is 35, into n bar value, right? Because now we are talking about the average of the sample. Okay, so this is your u bar value. Okay, it is same as you can see from the previous one also. I'll just put a $sign here, then I'll give you more explanation about this. Okay, and you know why I put this $sign here? So that we can get uniform values for rest of the sample. Here you have to select it and drag it down because it's not with the table till here. Okay, so as you can see from here, the u bar value which we calculated with the help of first approach, this one is just the same as this one. Here what we did, we tried to find out first of all the u value with the help of each and every single value of the sample separately, but here what we did the same thing but with an average sample size, right? So after finding out the u value, which is also your central line, if I'll put this CL here, that will be the same thing. U bar is also the central line. Now I'll calculate the upper control limit and the lower control limit with the help of the formula, and the formula that we use for finding out the upper control limit and the lower control limit is the same as we used their lower control limit. Okay, so here also the formula will remain same, but just the value for u bar will be changed. So with the help of those formulas, I selected again this number of defects per metric fabric and upper bar and lower control limit values, and I plotted this line graph, and you can see every reading in the line graph is same except the upper control limit variation, because here we were having the variation in the upper control limit because of the variation which we had by selecting each and every sample point separately. Here we selected the average of the sample size, so that's why the upper control limit is in a straight line. So here also lower control limit is below 0, that is in negative. We can replace it with 0, and simultaneously we can change it for the rest of the sample and we'll get the same thing. So from this we are able to interpret that the control chart for number of defects indicate that the process is under some sort of a change requirement. The process is not in statistical control, so we can do it with the help of a revision, and we can do it in another session. For this session, we'll wind up here only. Any query, any doubt, feel free to write on the comment section and do subscribe the channel. Thank you and have a good learning time.